Welcome back to the Tool Crib. Today we're going to be looking at a long-time retired multi-tool actually. This was retired in 2009, and this is a very interesting multi-tool. This is called the Leatherman Hybrid, and this is going to be a gardening tool. Now, during that era, they had three different multi-tools that incorporated these pruning shears. They had the Leatherman Vista, which was more of a hunting tool. Then they had the Hybrid, which was your gardening tool. And then they had the Leatherman Genus, which the Genus was basically a really beefed up version of this tool. It doesn't close down quite as compact as the Hybrid does, but it was a very interesting tool nonetheless. Again, these only ran between 2006 and 2009. It's quite a shame too, because I really like this multi-tool, and to get your hands on some of these, because there was such a limited production run, to find these in really good condition can be extremely hard and extremely expensive. I don't currently own the Vista or the Genus. I'm trying to find the right deal on one that are in good condition, preferably in new condition, but for new condition I'm going to have to pay an arm and a leg for them. At some point I hope to acquire those and show those to you as well. Today though, we're going to be looking at the Leatherman Hybrid. Very interesting gardening tool. Let's get into the specs, and then we're going to go through all the tools and features of the Hybrid. The length on this tool is quite large actually. The length in the open position for this thing is 8¼ inches long, or about 210 millimeters. Now when you close it up, it gets a little bit more compact, but it's still 4¾ inch long, or about 121 millimeters. The overall width is about 1 7/16, just shy of 1.5 inches at 36 millimeters, and the thickness, measuring out at the widest point here on the outside of the screws, is about 7/8 of an inch, or about 22 millimeters. Now I'm going to bring in my Leatherman Surge and put it side by side here so that you can really get a good idea of how large this tool is. Now, interestingly enough though, it's actually pretty lightweight. It comes in at 8.14 ounces is what I measured on my scale, or about 230 grams. Now, before we get into the tool set, a couple things I want to cover about this. It has the plastic overlay, or excuse me, the plastic covers with rubber molded overlays, kind of similar to what you get in today's cordless tools. Very, very comfortable, and you can see the way it's patterned too. It has some grip there. It's really comfortable to use. No hot spots whatsoever in this tool. Now, the sheath that it came with is very interesting. It has a nylon sheath that will handle this both in open and closed position. So you can stick it in there in its open position, which is very nice, and you can close it back up and it'll friction fit in there as well. It carries very nicely. On the back, it had a vertical belt loop, and then it has a clip as well. Very robust clip, I might add. So a couple of cool features about that. I like the sheath that they designed for that. It fits it really, really well. Well, let's hop into the tools of the Leatherman Hybrid. Well, the obvious best feature of this multi-tool is going to be those shears, and the shears are spring loaded. Now, to release them, you can see it has a little tab here for the lock mechanism, which engages with this side of the shear. So you just close them a bit and then slip that over and they open right up. And then you can see the spring is a coil spring that's in there, wire spring that it's actually quite good. Now over time, I'm sure that will eventually wear out and it'll need to be replaced. However, I don't know if you'll get replacement parts for these anymore because they've been out of production so long. Also, one thing to note is that these shears will actually come apart. So you have a hex head on this side and a regular hex nut on the other side, so you could take these apart, I assume, for sharpening. And the bypass on here is quite large, so I assume that these have a lot of sharpening life. You can sharpen these up many, many, many times over the years, and they will still continue to work flawlessly. I've never tried these shears and don't intend to use them because these are part of my collection, but I've seen them being used and they have no problem getting through just about anything. I've seen people do 3/4 inch branches and they'll just go right through them. So quite good on the shears themselves. Now, one thing that's interesting about these, which I find interesting, is that it incorporates a wire notch here, so for wire cutting. And so I assume, and I don't really know because I'm not much of a gardener, I assume that when you get stuff like trees in, landscaping stuff, that some of that stuff will come tied up in wire, and so you need the ability to cut through those things. It's very interesting that it has those on there. That's just going to be my assumption. I'm not entirely sure, and the gardeners among us might let us know just that. Now the tools on here are all slip joint. None of them are locking. Now the saw on here, and obviously you can, once you get your tool that you're going to be using out, you can close it back up and have a really nice handle. I can't say enough how comfortable that handle is. It really is. So the saw blade on here is really quite large. I don't have my Super Tool 300 sitting here to check it against it, but I'm gonna say that that's gonna be pretty close to, it might be the longest saw they put. Let's check it real quick, see what we're measuring at. So it's just over 3 inches, about 3 3/16, just shy of 3 1/4 inches. So I'll have to double check that against the Super Tool 300 and see if maybe this might be the longest saw they've ever put in one of their multi-tools. But quite good saw. We all know Leatherman makes fantastic saws. The next tool over, a couple of these I had to research because I didn't know exactly what they were. My assumption was that this was just a screwdriver and a bottle cap lifter, but because of the weird shape here, I had to go check it out and see what it was. So interestingly enough, this is a screwdriver and bottle cap lifter, but it also incorporates a sprinkler head adjusting tool, which is something that you would definitely need in gardening, and that is pretty interesting actually. Kind of cool if they added that in there. On the other side, you have 3 tools. So you have first a very robust screwdriver. And now this is exactly the same style form of screwdriver that you're going to get in the Super Tool 300. It is quite good. Full dimensional number 1, number 2 Phillips. And the truss style of this design makes it incredibly strong. So no fear of, and then you can also use it like most of the Leatherman tools in the pistol grip if you need to tighten on those fasteners. Quite a good screwdriver they have there. This is another tool here that I had to research to really figure out what it was. When I first got this, and I've had this for a couple of years now, but when I first got this, I thought, why would they put just a little stubby, thick chisel ground blade on there? Well, that's actually not what it is. This is a it's a bark lifter and grafting tool. So when you're grafting together different types of flowers or trees, you have the ability so this edge is to slice through the bark, and then on the opposite side, the way this is formed, you're able to lift the bark away from the trunk itself or away from the branch or whatever you're working with to separate it in order to do those grafting tasks. And I think that is a very cool tool to have in there. I'm not much of a gardener. That may be a commonplace tool, but I just thought it was really cool. The next tool, or the last tool actually, is a combination tool as well. This is a 3-inch ruler that they mark off in 1/2-inch increments, and then it is a very long de-weeding tool. And on occasion, I have to do that with our bush line. Sometimes my wife doesn't necessarily want to go out there and do it, and so I have to go de-weed the thing. And gardening, I have a lot of respect for gardeners because being on your knees, back bend, man, that's hard on your back, it's hard on your knees. It's just a tough job to do day in, day out. But tools like this certainly make those tasks a lot easier. Great little de-weeding tool there. I can't say enough how comfortable this is. It really is. It's very comfortable. And I really like the way they designed that sheath, how it slips in there in both directions. It's very comfortable to use. I wish I had one that I could actually use instead of just one for the collection. The amount of money I had to spend on this thing, there's just no way that I'm going to take it out of its brand new condition. Well, this has been a look at the Leatherman Hybrid, a very interesting multi-tool which sadly did not have a long enough run. And at some point I hope to acquire the Leatherman Vista and the Leatherman Genesis as well to show you those. My name is Ben, and you've been watching my channel, the Texas Tool Crib. Hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit that thumbs up button, and I'll see you in the next one.